In Montana, we have automatic mail ballots. Unfortunately. What's the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center? Is this a left or right? This looks left. Dude, what the heck is this? Voting system vendors used. ES&S and Votum. 2023 RCV readiness score, 80%, plus 43% since 2021 version. 2023 RCV readiness category, prepping for RCV. RCV capable registered voters, 729,000, 97%. So only 97% of Montana... Dude, what is this?
The idea of ranked choice voting, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I did. I read the Wall Street Journal article on it. I mean, my take on it, is that number one, what does Jack Smith think he's doing? By the way, this is all the stuff I said earlier, but I'll say it again. What does Jack Smith think he's doing bringing new indictments against Donald Trump after a federal court just within the last month held that he is unlawfully exercising power that he does not have constitutionally or legally? He is a complete private citizen, never appointed by the president, never confirmed by the United States Senate, and yet he's exercising even more power than a full-blown United States attorney that's been appointed by the president and confirmed by the United States Senate? Excuse me, but no. It's called the Appointments Clause. Ever heard of the Constitution? That's point number one. All right, point number two. It's a BS thing. He didn't change anything. It's not a new indictment. It's the same four charges. It's the same nucleus of the same exact facts. It's the same allegations of January 6th and trying to overturn the election results. And it's the same exact, fraud on the United States or whatever the BS thing is. That's all the same. He's just sort of repackaging it, which it's like, so basically you just admitted that the way that you had originally packaged it was unconstitutional and invaded the official powers of the presidency in an unconstitutional way. You just admitted that. And so now you're still bringing the same exact charges based on the same exact facts, but you're just packaging it differently to try to say that it wasn't official acts. Okay, that's called hypocrite. That's called you should be stopped from saying that. Anyway, that was my take, Numb. What was your take? Kiswan, I heard rumors Iran is planning retaliation on Israel close to November elections too. Exactly, Kiswan, exactly. It also shows why Montana Senate election is very important. Remember, an electoral tie, the Senate picks the VP because with Manchin out of West Virginia, the Senate's 50-50. But that's not good enough because as the VP, Harris can break the tie in favor of Walz, get the tester out. Wait, hold on. Are you kidding me, Eric? Hold on. The Senate picks the VP and we've got to go back and read that. What amendment to the Constitution set out what to do in an electoral tie? By the way, why is Kanye West? Welcome. Good to see you, why? Jay Brown's in the house. Good to see you, Jay Brown. Numb. You liked it, Numb? You like my take? You adopt as your own verbatim as if fully set forth within my exact take? I expect more shady stuff before and after Trump wins. When it comes to Democrats, Vinny, I expect shady stuff all the time, 24/7. My take is that it seems opportunistic to indict Trump after 4 years. I can see it happening after 2 max. Right, Numb. Right now in late 2024, right before the 2024 presidential elections. Yeah, 4 years later, right at the height of the presidential campaign. Yeah, give me a break, Jack Smith.
Of ranked choice voting, it's really interesting. But you have to have the real concrete things to go along with the big, beautiful idea that will actually put it into practice.
Especially when you're trying a whole new system of voting. You know, it's administratively burdensome and it costs money and you have to bring people up to speed to the newness of it all.
And it's very important to do it right, and there's a lot of ways to do it wrong.
Because what works perfect in one jurisdiction may flop in another. And what we have got to do is have those lessons learned so we can make it better.
The Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center.
So they literally just admitted that it's a disaster to administer. Wow.
Is a nonpartisan organization.
Interesting, Eric. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that in an electoral tie, the House picks the president, the Senate picks the VP. I didn't realize that. What's the statute of limitations on something like that? I have no idea, Jay Brown. 5 years? Could be. I really have no clue. First of all, it's federal law. Second of all, it's criminal law. I could tell you what the statute of limitations is on a contract claim in Montana, oral versus written. I could tell you what the statute of limitations is on a negligence claim in Montana. I could tell you what the statute of limitations on statutory claims is in Montana. But no, I'm not going to be able to name off the top of my head a statute of limitations on some federal crime that I've never researched or litigated. The DNC was very weird, very shady. Yep. Ranked choice voting is garbage. Yeah. So Num, I'm going to make a video on this because number one, I'm on Montana Talks all the time, and I'm actually guest hosting Montana Talks, guys. Aaron Flint is going to be taking some time off next week, so I'm going to be on the radio. I'm going to be on the radio quite a bit next week. I think September 4th, 5th, and 6th. I might even be doing September 9th as well. I have to look at my calendar, but I'm going to do the show a bunch. I'm trying to grow my YouTube. I'm trying to get more YouTube videos up. I'm trying to create more YouTube content. Plus, I want to make a video for Montanans because this is on our ballot. These leftist George Soros groups paid people to go around gathering signatures to put ranked choice voting on Montana's ballot. Can you believe that? And it's getting on the Montana ballot. So this is a big deal. If Montanans don't know about what the hell this is and accidentally vote yes for this, this is a disaster. This will destroy our state and will be a cancer on the country. Just like it was when Alaska did it.
Helps to educate and resource individuals about ranked choice voting.
We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and our job is to make sure that the local election administrators, the people who are running this ranked choice voting election, have the resources they need to do it effectively the first time so that the results are trustworthy, so that people feel like their votes got counted fairly and effectively.
Because people don't really like change, but they really don't like change that they perceive to be brand new, untested waters. They want something behind that to say, well, yes, this has been done before and this has been used before successfully.
It's hard to have to start from scratch, and you don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. And when you've got someone that you can do some troubleshooting with, that's extremely helpful to elections administrators because they have their hands full with so many things.
Most of our staff has had some form of ranked choice voting election experience. Not only can we write them a plan, we can do a health check to make sure that they are covering all the right things through the election.
So we want to make sure that we come in and say, tell us about your processes. Tell us about the way you do ordinances in your city. Tell us about how you educate your voters. And we'll match you up then with the resources, the consulting, the software to implement something like ranked choice voting effectively.
They're always looking at opportunities to develop different tools.
Really interesting. But you have to have the real concrete things to go along with the big, beautiful idea that will actually put it into practice.
Especially when you're trying a whole new system of voting. it's administratively burdensome and it costs money and you have to bring people up to speed to the newness of it all.
And it's very important to do it right, and there's a lot of ways to do it wrong.
Because what works perfect in one jurisdiction may flop in another. And what we have got to do is have those lessons learned so we can make it better.
That's amazing. What I find amazing about this is that even this pro RCV group, even this group that is promoting RCV, is admitting that it's a disaster to try to implement, and you have all kinds of problems when you implement it.
Ranked choice voting effectively.
They're always looking at opportunities.
Gizmo, what's up, Gizmo? Welcome. West Dude in the house. What up, West Dude? Skyrider in the house. What up, Skyrider? Thank you guys all for being here. Every state that elects Trump should also a GOP senator too. Every state in 16 and 20 did do that. Oh, that's awesome. Let's hope so. Skyrider makes for an interesting conflict of interest in the Senate if Kamala can cast the deciding vote for herself, right? Jay Brown, hell yeah, Trump Kamala 24, make the dysfunction happen. Well, it would end up being Trump. It would end up being Trump Walz. It would end up being Trump Walz, right? Because if the Senate has to choose a VP from the VP candidates, it would have to either be Walz or Vance, and if it's Democrat, they'd go Walz. So then it'd be Trump Walz. That they toss ballots if you only vote for one person. Are you serious? Do you have a source on that, Num? If you have a source on that, Num, I'd love to see it. Because I am gathering sources, which is what this is. I'm making notes and stuff. I'm going to gather a bunch of sources and make some notes and arguments and stuff, and then try to put together like a 15, 20-minute YouTube video about why Montana should vote against Montana's ballot initiative. Oh, nice. Thank you, Num. Thank you. Let me copy and paste this. Boom, boom, boom. Untitled. There it is. Ranked choice voting notes. The ranked choice voting fad is finally ending by Trent England and Jason Sneed, opinion contributors, April of 24. The ranked choice voting fad is finally ending. We've got it on our ballot. They're still pushing this on our ballot. What the heck? I was so glad to hear the Supreme Court rejected the state versus state lawsuit trying to shut down voter ID laws. When did that happen, West Dude? If that happened like today, I don't remember it, or I haven't heard about it. If it happened a while ago, I don't really remember that. American Patriot, what's up? I just had someone defend Harris's unrealized tax. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. First of all, who are these guys? Co-chairs of the Stop Ranked Choice Voting Coalition. Oh, nice. Stop RCV. Ranked choice voting threatens our elections. It's more complicated, more partisan, and less transparent. Ranked choice voting is wrong for our elections. Sign the petition if you agree. Once hailed as a promising alternative to America's one person, one vote approach, ranked choice voting has proven to be a deceptive scheme. Countless cities and counties that misguidedly implemented it are dumping it like a bad stock, either of their own accord or because of citizen-led petitions. Ranked choice voting is a confusing and convoluted method of voting that tries to force voters to rank multiple candidates for a single office. If one candidate secures a majority in the first round, that candidate wins. Otherwise, lower-ranked candidates' votes are redistributed or thrown out until a winner emerges. So you literally throw out votes. I love that, dude. They literally throw out votes. They literally end up having to throw out. And Democrats are in favor of it. Oh, West Dude's got a good link, too. Oh, yeah. This was Supreme Court grants GOP bid to require citizen proof for some Arizona. Oh, I saw that. I did see this story. Oh, when you described it, West Dude, I didn't understand. I didn't connect it. I do remember this story. This is fantastic news. Allowing Arizona to enforce a section that requires election officials to reject state voter registration forms that are submitted without an applicant's proof of U.S. citizenship. That provision will remain in effect as an appeal proceeds. Yeah, that's fantastic news. How absurd, dude. They're litigating. Democrats are literally litigating to try to stop us from ensuring voters are citizens. Think about how absurd that the Democrats are seriously fighting in court fighting with lawyers in court to try to stop us from ensuring that voters are citizens. Blatantly out in the open, taking these legal positions, filing these cases, making these legal arguments. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like openly, blatantly. Isn't throwing out votes if someone only votes for one candidate unconstitutional? I have no idea. I don't think it's ever been litigated. I have no clue. The system has resulted in thousands of discarded ballots, widespread voting errors, delayed election results, longer lines at polling places, suspect recounts, and diminished voter confidence. Wow. Widespread voting errors, delayed election results, longer lines at polling places, suspect recounts, diminished voter confidence. We know that public trust in elections matters. This is why 6 states, Florida, Tennessee, South Dakota, Idaho, Kentucky, and Montana, have banned ranked choice voting over the last 2 years. Ranked choice is approved at the statewide level only in Maine and Alaska. Oh man, this is great content. This is fantastic content. Thank you, Nub. This is a great link. Yeah, they count them as spoiled votes and toss them out. But then here's the thing, Num. Say you've got a big long complicated ballot with multiple races on it. And so you're going down this big ballot and you've got multiple races, and some races have like 6 or 7 candidates, and there's 3 or 4 different races that have like 3 or 4 5 different candidates each, and you're having to like toss out ballots for one race but try to keep it in the mix for the other races. And you can totally see how that's a disaster to try to administer this. I can't believe there's this actual group that actually is trying to like say, oh, we can help, we can get you guys to do this, and it's not a big disaster. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, West, dude, I think even the states that tried to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections, even that got struck down under state constitutions. Never forget. What's up? Never forget. Just got here. What's going on with Trump's new charges? I can talk to. Are you getting hit with an ad? Never forget. Twitch is telling me that it's trying to hit people. Oh no. No, you're not. Okay, you're good. And never forget, brother, I talked a lot about it. I think it's BS. I think Jack Smith is acting unconstitutionally, as the federal court in Florida already held recently. I think it's just by repackaging his claims because of the Supreme Court decision on immunity, he's admitting that the actual nucleus of facts is official conduct, and Trump is immune. So I think it's a disaster for Biden and Kamala Harris. A statewide repeal effort of ranked choice is underway in Alaska. It took only one statewide. Whatever happened with that, I wonder. Wow. Wow. Dude, this is crazy. Check this out, guys. This is the ranked choice voting stream now. You guys ready for the RCV? Thank you, never forget. We're doing a ranked choice voting stream tonight, I guess. This is crazy, dude. Alaska Supreme Court upholds ranked choice repeal initiative, now bound for the November vote. Don't worry, lecturer. I'm very confident in Sheehy's victory, so we don't have to worry. Electoral college tie. Let's go. That would be amazing. Honestly, If I had to choose between an electoral college tie and a Trump victory or a Trump landslide, I might prefer the electoral college tie Trump victory. I'm kidding. But just to see the left melt down over that would be pretty intense. Ballot Measure 2 would end ranked choice voting and the state's open primary system. A ballot measure that could repeal Alaska's ranked choice election system is headed to a vote in November. Well, that's pretty amazing. The order came shortly after. Let me blow this up so you guys can maybe even have a hope of. Can you guys read that? Is that big enough to read? Can you guys read that? Do you guys think I should make this thing a little bit bigger, my screen bigger? Or is it good? I kind of need to rearrange my camera angle, frankly. I don't like the way it's. Maybe I could move the camera just over to there. Actually, yeah. I could actually move my. I actually could move my camera and just kind of keep it at the same angle and just move it and get a lot better angle. But I'll have to work on that at some point. Cenk Uyghur's meltdown in an electoral college tie would make his 16 meltdown look like kindergarten. Can you imagine how entertaining that would be? Trump never forgets and never loses. Right. Right. The order came shortly after justices heard oral arguments in an appeal claiming that the Alaska Division of Elections improperly certified the measure. Who the hell was funding this litigation? Who the heck was funding this lawsuit to try to stop the people of Alaska from overturning this garbage ranked choice voting trash? Dude, listen to the way the media portrays this. Supporters say CI 126 and CI 127 would rework Montana's elections to discourage partisan extremism and encourage compromise. And it's like, no, that's not what happens. Okay. Backers advancing a pair of constitutional initiatives that would overhaul how Montana voters elect state and federal candidates said Wednesday that they have collected enough signatures to have the measures placed on the ballot. The first initiative ballot language for Constitutional Initiative number 126, CI 126, Constitutional Initiative number 126, a constitutional amendment proposed by initiative petition. CI 126 amends the Montana Constitution to provide a top 4 primary. All candidates, regardless of political party, appear on one ballot. The 4 candidates receiving the most votes advance to the general. A candidate may list a political party preference, but a candidate isn't required to be nominated by a political party. A candidate's political party preference isn't an endorsement by the political party. The legislature may require candidates gather signatures up to 5% of the votes received by the winning candidate in the last election to appear on the ballot. All voters may vote for one candidate for each covered office. CI 126 applies to elections for governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, auditor, attorney general, superintendent of public instruction, state rep, state senator, U.S. rep, and U.S. senator. All voters may vote for one candidate for each covered office. Wow, what a disaster. So that's the top 4 jungle primary top vote getter. Here's the CI 127 in Montana. This is crazy, man. This is so, dude, we're getting in Montana, we're getting these proposals to completely overroll and completely override all of our election laws and completely redo our elections, and nobody knows about it, and it's all being bankrolled and pushed by these left-wing groups. Right, Eric, it kind of is. CI 127 amends the Montana Constitution to provide, first of all, let me, I guess, link this really quick. Man, there's a lot of content here, man. Holy cow, I didn't realize there's this much content. I almost should just do like an entire stream, like a 3-hour stream just focused on this, which is, I guess, kind of what I'm doing. Maybe I'll put up this whole stream as a big YouTube video. Why do left-wing groups always have the worst ideas? Well, here's the thing about it, Num. Like, it's not a bad idea if you're a leftist. It's a good idea if you're a leftist, because both of these ballots basically help leftists. Like, they're willing to change the entire process. They're willing to change the Constitution. They're willing to fundamentally redo and rework how we vote and how our election's done, just for the temporary gain that they think they'll get to help Democrats. They don't actually think that structurally this is the best way to do it. They're just doing it because they know that it results in Democrats winning elections. If Cenk isn't melting down about Trump Republicans or his staff trying to unionize, would he have any content? No, he wouldn't. He would not. CI 127 amends the Montana Constitution to provide that elections for certain offices must be decided by majority vote as determined as provided by law, rather than by a plurality or the largest amount of the votes. If it cannot be determined who received a majority of votes because 2 or more candidates are tied, then the winner of the election will be determined as provided by law. CI 127 applies to elections for governor, lieutenant governor, secretaries, blah, 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 blah. Holy cow, dude. So this is the most vague, most BS thing. The complete text of Constitutional Initiative 127, be it enacted by the people of the state of Montana, Section 1, Article 4, Section 5 of the Constitution of the state of Montana is amended to read, Section 5, results of elections. As used in this section, the term covered office. In all elections held by the people for an office other than a covered office, the person or persons receiving the largest number of votes shall be declared elected. New section. In all elections held by the people for a covered office, which is basically every single office, the person receiving a majority of votes as determined as provided by law shall be declared elected. If it cannot be determined which person received the majority of votes because 2 or more persons are tied, the elected person shall be determined as provided as law. New section, Section 2, severability. If part of this act is invalid, all valid parts that are severable from the invalid part remain in effect. If a part of this act is invalid in one way or more of its applications, the part remains in effect in all valid applications that are severable from the invalid applications. Effective date, effective January 1st, 2025. This act applies to elections held on or after January 1st, 2025. This is so badly written, too. This is so badly written. Okay, look at this. Okay, first of all, you have new section, and then section 4, section 3, new section, section 2. And it's like, and then you don't have like section 5, section 3. It's like, no, it's like chapter, part, section, subsection, paragraph, subparagraph. Like there's you can do it however you want, but you have to be consistent. And then they're confusing. They're referring to this act. And it's not an act. It's a constitutional amendment. It's actually this is just a straight up a provision of the Constitution. This act. It's not an act. An act is something that the legislature passes. I mean, it's just like amateur hour. Who the heck wrote this? I mean, seriously, just straight up bad grammar, bad syntax, bad section headings, bad formatting, bad language usage, improper usage of words. Completely. I don't understand how this was allowed to be I don't even understand how this is even allowed to be on the ballot. Like, this is going to be an utter disaster. What is going to happen is number one, this thing really doesn't do anything. Okay. It forces the legislature to adopt the specific provisions of ranked choice voting. Right? How else do you? I mean, you could do all sorts of different things, and you could theoretically, if you're the state legislature, you could theoretically come up with a way to try to comply with this provision without doing just straight up regular ranked choice voting. But it ain't going to be easy, and then you're going to be subject to a lawsuit by the same people that put this thing on the ballot. This is like, no, I mean, because that's what it says, be determined as provided by law. That means that it's up to the legislature. Must be decided by majority vote as determined as provided by law. I mean, this is horrible, horrible language. This is who understands that language? Let me read it again. It amends the Constitution to provide that elections for certain offices must be decided by majority vote as determined as provided by law. Does anybody know what that means? I mean, this is straight up trash. And then, so this is what's going to happen, right? So first of all, this is a complete overhaul of how our elections are processed and administered. And so then what you have is you have the state legislature, which is not going to be happy with this. If this passes, the Montana state legislature is not going to want to comply with this and pass ranked choice voting and put in place all the like nitty gritty details of it. And so they're going to just then pass something that they're going to try to say is consistent with this part of the Constitution, but actually isn't. And then they're going to get sued. And then the actual Secretary of State and all the election administrators and the county election offices all around the state are going to be confused as hell about what the hell is going on with our elections and how are we going to do this next election, and are we doing a ranked choice voting election? Are we doing this? And even if we're going to do a ranked choice voting election, are we going to do it the court order? Are we going to do what the state legislature did? Are we going to do it the old way? What are we going to do? It's going to be confusing, and then every county is going to do it differently, and it's going to be an absolute blowout disaster, and it's going to involve the most important part of our government, which is our elections. This is unbelievably bad. This is so bad I can't even express how bad these are. Juggalo Mid, what's up? As determined as provided. As determined as provided. Right. As determined as provided. I don't know. The court can't strike down the Constitution, Wes, dude. This is to amend the Constitution. That's why I'm saying this should have never been allowed on the ballot, because this thing is so vague and ambiguous and confusing, and it's such trash that it shouldn't be put into the Montana Constitution. It shouldn't even be allowed to be on the ballot as a constitutional amendment because it's too vague and it's totally inconsistent with the rest of the Constitution. I think it arguably violates other provisions of the Constitution without addressing them. Like, I don't understand how this wasn't litigated and prevented from being on the ballot other than the courts got it wrong. What's up, Guess? Thanks for stopping in. How you doing, Guess? How long will Trump take to file a case against Jack Smith's office since it has no power? That's what I was saying, Guess. That's what I was like, what is Jack Smith doing filing another case? He has no power here. A federal court already determined that he is unconstitutionally he has no constitutional power. Bruce Tutvet, President. Doug Campbell, Treasurer. Montanans for Election Reform Fund. How'd you find that, Num? How'd you find that? Well, because of what it is, if it goes to trial, the court would just strike it down as too vague to implement, say, until it just gets cleaned up on the books, but unenforceable.
Develop different tools or different types of educational material. This includes regular webinars, how-to guides, assessments, and other documentation that help you understand ranked choice voting for a particular context or jurisdiction. And the Resource Center provides these tools at no cost to the public when they're asking for them.
We can't do the things we do without donations and without people supporting us financially in the community. We know that ranked choice voting can provide a good, healthy democracy with lots of voices being heard. And we have to have great systems in place to make that happen.
And the better you can do that with ranked choice voting or any other form of voting, the more trust people will have in your democracy, the more faith people will place in the power of their vote, and the longer reforms like ranked choice voting will stay in place.
The Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center relies on the generosity of our donors to meet our mission. To make a donation, please go to rcvresources.org/donate or call us at 833-VOTE-RCV. We appreciate your support.
Wow. That's amazing that there's straight up groups out there lying about ranked choice voting. Anti-ranked choice voting. Actually, let me see. Actually, Alaska ranked choice voting.
Alaskans will use ranked choice voting in general elections for federal and state races. Instead of choosing just one candidate, you fill in the oval in column 1 for the candidate you would most like to win. Then, vote for your second choice in column 2, and so on. Ranking other candidates does not impact your first choice, but you don't have to rank them all. For your vote to count, you should mark only one oval in each row and one oval in each column. We take the ballots and count all the first choices. If a candidate gets at least half of the votes in round 1...
Dude, that makes no sense. What? How confusing is that? Did that make any sense? Oh my gosh, my neck hurts. Yo, Tristan. What's up, Tristan? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you.
Instead of choosing just one candidate, you fill in the oval in column 1 for the candidate you would most like to win. Then, vote for your second choice in column 2, and so on. Ranking other candidates does not impact your first choice, but you don't have to rank them all. For your vote to count, you should mark only one oval in each row and one oval in each column. We take the ballots and count all the first choices. If a candidate gets at least half of the votes in round 1, they win. If this doesn't happen, we continue to round 2, and the candidate with the least first choice votes is eliminated. We count the voter's next remaining candidate choice instead of their choice for the eliminated candidate, meaning they still have a say in who wins. We repeat these steps in rounds until there are only 2. If this doesn't happen, we continue to round 2, and the candidate with the least first choice votes is eliminated. We count the voter's next remaining candidate choice instead of their choice for the eliminated candidate, meaning they still have a say in who wins. We repeat these steps in rounds until there are only 2 candidates left, and whoever has the most votes wins. That's how ranked choice voting works. Check out our website and follow us on social media to make sure you're ready to rank it up, Alaska.
So basically, like depending on the results of the elections, like a lot of your rankings will be thrown out, right? Like your rankings and how you rank them, a lot of times that'll just be thrown out. It won't matter. It won't make a difference.
Alaskans will use ranked choice voting in general elections
that video where they're trying to explain it in the easiest way possible is an absolute, just shows you how confusing it is.
Hi, I'm James Brooks, a reporter with the Anchorage Daily News. Alaska has a new election system this year, and you probably have some questions about it. Here's how it works. First things first, all candidates for each race must enter by June 1st. And this time around, governor and lieutenant governor run as a single team. After everyone's signed up, the next step is the primary election on August 16th. In the past, you might have been asked which ballot you want when you go into the polling place. This year, there's only one ballot, and all of the candidates, regardless of party, are on it. You'll vote for one candidate per race. The top 4 vote getters will head into the general election. If there's 4 or fewer people running, then all of the candidates advance. After the primary, we'll get a few more months of campaigning before the general election, which this year is on November 8th. In that election, you'll be asked to pick which candidate is your favorite, second favorite, third favorite, fourth, and if you want to vote for write-in, there's space for a 5th option. You'll be voting for all of the races this way. Governor, State House and Senate, Congress. This will be the first time Alaskans are voting like this, using a system called ranked choice voting. Here's what the ballot looks like. Let's talk about how to mark it. Imagine elk, polar bear, penguin, and owl are running for office. You prefer elk, and you're definitely anti-penguin.
She doesn't even go here.
So maybe you'll fill out your ballot like this: elk, polar bear, owl, and penguin. You could also choose to only...
I think it's possible, guitar player. I don't understand how ranked choice voting is even consistent with the U.S. Constitution's guarantee of a Republican form of government for the states. You know what I mean?
partially fill out the ballot and just leave off penguin entirely. If more than half of the voters mark elk as their first choice, elk wins. But if no one has more than half the votes, the candidate with the fewest first choice votes gets eliminated. So, goodbye, elk. Now that elk's eliminated, everyone who voted for elk first then has their vote counted for their second choice. So if you voted for elk first...
So in other words, and they also throw out your first vote. So if your first vote is somebody that was not super popular, your vote gets thrown out for that person.
Then polar bear, owl, and penguin. Now your ballot goes to polar bear first, owl, then penguin. Election officials will count again, and the process starts all over. If a candidate has the outright majority, they will be declared the winner. If not, the process is repeated until a candidate wins. If you try to pick two first choices, say elk and polar bear, that vote won't be counted at all, though your ballot will still count in other races where you voted correctly. There will
Wait, what?
Process is repeated until a candidate wins. If you try to pick two first choices, say elk and polar bear, that vote won't be counted at all, though your ballot will still count in other races where you voted correctly. There will be other things on the ballot that don't use ranked choice voting. The normal
So in other words, they give you this super confusing thing, and if you screw it up, then your vote's thrown out.
Ballot measures, the Constitutional Convention question, those will be yes or no questions. All of this tallying could delay the election results. More likely than not, we won't know who's won until 15 days after Election Day. And even then, there still might be some doubt, because in Maine, when ranked choice voting was used for the first time, a losing candidate sued, arguing that the new law was implemented unconstitutionally. The same thing could happen here, and that would delay the results. So if you have any more questions about this, drop us a line. You can read more about how we got here at ktoo.org and adn.com.
I don't even understand how this is even considered a. I don't even understand how this is even considered a possibly a legitimate even thing. I'm trying to find one that is anti. Why ranked choice voting is bad. Oh, nice. Good. Oh, nice. Good. Good. That's awesome. Here, why? Oh, nice. Nice. Why is ranked choice voting bad public policy? Here we go. Finally found the video that'll actually be good.
What is ranked choice voting, and why is it bad public policy? Instead of just voting for one candidate, ranked choice voting asks you to rank all of the candidates.
Dude, I literally thought that on the ballot you would like write down 1, 2, 3. Like I thought you had to like write down number 1, number 2. I didn't realize you get this like graph of like all these different rows and columns with all these different names and all these different bubbles, and you can only fill in one bubble on each column and one bubble on each row. And if you fill in a bubble on two bubbles on one row or two bubbles on one column, then your vote's thrown out. Like what? Why not just have people write 1, 2? Of course, you can't like if you have to write 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not as easy to count them, which is why they do it this way. But dude, this is confusing as hell.
For example, a Republican might choose a Republican candidate as their number 1 choice, an independent as their number 2, and a Democrat third. The confusion culminates once the counting begins. If no candidate receives 50% of the vote, the first round of voting, the lowest candidate is eliminated, and his or her votes are reallocated to other candidates. This keeps happening over and over again until someone reaches 50%. But what if you only selected one candidate and that candidate didn't advance? Your vote becomes exhausted and it is thrown out. It's estimated 10% of votes in a ranked choice voting system are thrown out. Numerous studies have shown RCV leads to major confusion and lower voter turnout. One analysis of San Francisco's RCV found a significant correlation between a drop in voter turnout and the adoption of ranked choice voting. The results appear even worse in off-year elections. RCV is...
Wait, why did he get timed out? Yeah, Juggalo Mid. I hate to unmod you, Juggalo Mid, but we don't do that here. We don't time out people unless they're violating terms of service. Anyway, I don't know how to undo that. Pickles, I guess you're timed out for 10 minutes. You'll survive. You'll survive. To 10 minutes, you'll be back.
It's one thing with a limited number of candidates. It is quite another if there are.
Is trolling against TOS? I do not think trolling is. If trolling was against TOS, then like 90% of Twitch chat would be TOS banned.
Are many candidates because voters would be required to rank every race. They would want to know and study the positions of every candidate. Imagine a race of 10 to 15 candidates.
Bashing my mod is not an issue. No, in my channel, we allow free speech unless it's a unless it's a violation of Twitch terms of service. It doesn't have to be a clear-cut violation of Twitch terms of service, but we don't ban people here or time people out just because a mod's in an argument with them about something or they made a personal attack against the mod. I could be wrong. I mean, if personal attacks and like trolling is against TOS, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I know that like harassment and abuse and stuff like that is, but I didn't necessarily. I guess I didn't go far back enough. I scrolled back on a couple of his chats. All I saw was like Juggalo Mid like telling him to be respectful or get silenced and blah blah blah. It's like, no, you don't have to be respectful. You don't have to be respectful. That's not required under Twitch TOS to be respectful.
Candidates. Could voters adequately determine the policy positions of all of them to properly rank their choice? Because of the tabulation process, many RCV election results are not available on election day. Depending on the number of candidates, they may not even be available election week. Finally, some have claimed that we need RCV to reform closed primaries.
Exactly, never forget, brother. Exactly, never forget, brother. We don't agree with what they say, but we'll defend their right to say it. Exactly.
A clean open primary is very different, however, and need not be tied to the problems of ranked choice voting. In a time when we want to encourage...
Lecture is the vote, yes. You can call me a woke. You can attack me. You can make personal attacks against my mods. That's fine.
Voter participation.
But I do wonder like at some point I do think that like at some point it could become like harassment, right? I didn't see I guess I wasn't. I will say that is harassment. What's harassment? What was he saying that was harassment? I guess maybe I missed it. I could be wrong. Like if he was actually like engaging in harassment that's against TOS, then I agree with the timeout. Then I agree. Let me see if I can find. I don't know how to go back and see exactly what he said without scrolling back through like massive amounts of chat. I don't even think my chat goes back. I'd have to probably like click on his name to find it.
We need to keep voting simple. Learn more at mountainstatespolicy.org.
What a joke. Oh, Mountain States Policy Center. That's a pretty good one. Oh, wow. Look at this is the main story.
Last year's elections did not end the debate over ranked choice voting, at least not in the legislature. Democrats are trying to change the state constitution now to allow ranked choice to be used in state elections for governor and legislature. Many Republicans, though, are trying to repeal or change the law altogether. A legislative committee today heard arguments about all of it. There are 3 proposals to amend the Maine Constitution to fix the issue that prevents ranked choice from being used in the general election for governor. And there are 3 other proposals aimed at undoing the current law. 2 would eliminate ranked choice voting, and a 3rd would have each congressional district choose for itself how they're going to vote for their member of Congress. Ranked choice is clearly a party line issue. Support groups like the League of Women Voters say it would be used in all state elections and should be. Republicans in general say the Bruce Poliquin loss showed that ranked choice is wrong.
When I talked with people about it, they were most of our family and friends are about it in the 2nd Congressional District, and so it was confusing.
You think it should be repealed?
I do think it should be repealed. Yes, I think it's people being...
Yeah, okay, if he was like doing normal trolling, like calling us cult members, calling us Trump idiots or whatever, I don't think that's I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong. I don't think that rises to the level of a Twitch TOS violation, but I could be totally wrong on that. If you look at the actual Twitch community guidelines, it's basically like we're a safe space kind of thing. Like this is supposed to be a safe space for everybody. So I could actually see that being considered hateful conduct. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read this. I at one point read all of the community guidelines. Authenticity, civility, and respect. Twitch aims to be a place where everyone can come together in shared community experiences. This vision is threatened when people experience harmful rhetoric and abuse on Twitch. I would say that it's approaching abuse. I would say what Pickles does is very, very close to abuse. Twitch does not permit behavior that is motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, including behavior that promotes or encourages discrimination, denigration, harassment, or violence based on the following protected characteristics: race, ethnicity, color, caste, national origin, immigration status, religion, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, serious medical condition, and veteran status. We also provide certain protections for age, which are expressly noted in the examples. We define protected groups as a subset of the population with a shared protected characteristic. Every Twitch user falls into multiple of these protected groups. Twitch affords every user globally equal protections under this policy. So, you know, the one thing that's not in there is political beliefs. The one thing that's not in there is political beliefs. So there is no prohibition on Twitch against encouraging discrimination. Well, actually, it could be, because this says, what's so weird about this sentence? Actually, this is a really bad sentence, because it says Twitch does not permit behavior that is motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, including behavior that promotes or encourages. So no behavior. I would say that Pickles is motivated by hatred, but not motivated by hatred based on one of these protected characteristics. He's motivated by hatred of Trump supporters, but he's still motivated by hatred and prejudices, right? But just not for one of these like statuses. So it's not necessarily super clear. Harassment deters the growth of vibrant and diverse community, prevents people from feeling safe on Twitch, and creates a gateway for more severe forms of harm and abuse. People experience harassment in different ways, including personal attacks, promotion of physical harm, malicious brigading. Please keep in mind, we expect streamers to take the necessary steps to mitigate harassing content that appears on their stream or in their chat. We will not suspend broadcasters that we find to be acting in good faith, including by using tools such as automod, timeouts, and channel bans to remove abuse appearing from third parties and external sources. You may not engage in content wishing harm or death on others, glorifying, endorsing, or expressing approval of a person's past or current traumatic events, making implied physical threats to others, targeting others with repeated or severe personal attacks. Okay, there it is. That's pretty close, right? Pickles is getting very close on targeting others with repeated and severe personal attacks. I would say that Pickles is getting close on that one. He does come here to tell us we are stupid and cult members daily. I think a 10-minute timeout is warranted. I'm starting to lean more towards that as well. I'm starting to lead more towards Juggalo Mid. You made the right decision. Yeah. I'm starting to lean more towards it was a good timeout. You did the right thing, Juggalo. It was targeting others with repeated and severe personal attacks. Repeatedly sending personal insults to a broadcaster. Browsing other broadcasters' channels on stream and directing insults towards them related to their intelligence or appearance. sharing negative doctored or artistic content, inciting viewers to target another person with abuse, hostile rating, making malicious contact towards legitimate businesses or private persons, stream sniping, stalking or another person's personal physical boundaries, creating accounts dedicated to harassment, such as through abusive usernames. Yeah, so I think a timeout. The thing about it is it's like targeting other with repeated personal attacks. That becomes very like difficult to determine at what point is it like targeted, at what point is it repeated, at what point is it a personal attack. Like coming in here and saying like we're all Trump cult members, I don't think that's like a targeted and repeated personal attack. But if he's like was directly calling you names and saying you're an idiot like over and over and over again to one person in chat saying you're an idiot, you're a Trump cult, you're a moron, which I think he has done to lots of people in chat, I would then consider that to be repeated and targeted personal attacks. Thank you, Juggalo Mid.
To vote for more than one person, and that's not what our democratic republic is about.
800,000 lecture freedom coins. Hell yeah, guess. Hell yeah.
We believe it encourages turnout. We believe it gives the most voice to the people. And
that's the thing, Eric, right? It's a judgment. It's a tough call. It's like, I would say that Pickles is right on the line. I would say that Pickles is right on the line of being like TOS versus non-TOS. He has targeted many people, right? Pickles constantly spams chat, and he was also singled out Juggalo Mid several times, told him to calm down and more respectful. He continued towards Juggalo Mid. Personally, I think he deserves a ban, and Juggalo Mid didn't deserve to lose his sword. Juggalo Mid can have his sword back for that one. He was right on that one. I think the 10... Yeah, actually, Juggalo Mid was very, very... I know lots of you guys... I know... This is a safe space. Please share your pronouns. No personal attacks. No targeted, repeated personal attacks. I didn't know that. That's a new one for me. I actually learned something.
Now, we don't see any reason why it shouldn't be used in the gubernatorial election. It worked.
And a pay raise for Jug. I agree.
Well, in 2018, in the primaries and in the second CD general election, we think it should be used in all the elections.
The thing is that I wish Pickles wouldn't do that, because I know like Pickles has some other stuff to say that's actually interesting, right? And Pickles has other stuff to say that actually gets the conversation going and stuff, but yeah. Holy cow, guys, so much. Oh, I was going to read this article too.